What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Phaithful Phanatics Show. We are streaming to you live, as always, on this Thursday night over on the DSM-Media Twitter page, as well as the DSM-Media Philadelphia YouTube channel. So, guys, first and foremost, if you want to be involved in today's show, make sure to tap into the YouTube link specifically. You can find it in our bio, in our link tree, over on X at DSM_media is where you can find us there. But if you want to be interactive like Little Griffith is doing right here, make sure to subscribe, share the video, like the video, whatever you got to do to continue to help us grow. We greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Lane Johnson set to return for his 14th season, his first season without Jeff Stoutland in the room. Scotty, we'll talk about the importance of Lane returning and what it might mean for the vibes heading into the 2026 season, as Little Griff is saying right here. Eagles keeping A.J. Brown. That certainly seems to be the direction, no matter how much smoke, no matter how many whispers are going on social media and what the Eagles should do and mock trades and this and that. A.J. went on a podcast. Derek Gunn's now reporting that A.J. Brown is more than likely going to remain a Philadelphia Eagle, at least for the 2026 season. So that's a positive. We have mock drafts going on right now, but it's not all positive, Scotty. Coming out of the All-Star break, the Sixers take on the Atlanta Hawks tonight, and there's no Joel Embiid. And there wasn't Joel Embiid as we headed into the All-Star break itself. We thought, hey, man, sit him out in Portland, give him the extra rest. And he sat out the next game as well, but he missed the last two games before the break. Get him some extra rest. They got over a week off by that time. And he's reporting soreness in his right shin from the right knee management that he's been dealing with for quite some time now. And we're going to talk about there's a little bit more here with this report, right? Because Joel has sat out this year from time to time for soreness, or he goes out to warm up and felt something that wasn't right, and he ends up being okay. After the game, that he plays in and drops 39, he's got some soreness. They're dealing with it. They're treating it. Yeah. But this seems a little different, and we'll see how we're feeling in terms of another Joel Embiid injury mystery. But, my man, happy Thursday. We got a decent amount to talk about in the hypothetical world, not even the hypothetical world, what's going on right now in Philadelphia sports, but what is going on?
Yeah, for it being a kind of the off season, I guess NFL off season, right? Phillies off season, Flyers. We know where they're at right now.
The Olympics are going on right now, so there's no
Olympics. So hockey's off. Yeah, good point. It's interesting how much news is coming out, but we're approaching March. There's going to be more and more that comes out as we approach the free agency period and then ultimately the NFL draft. But yeah, man, not the news that we wanted out of the All-Star break. Happy Thursday, nonetheless. I'm super excited for the Sixers to tip off tonight. Like, I am ready for them to get back to action. Just was not ready to be playing right on time. Good evening, Pumper. But no, it is. It sucks the life out of you to be completely transparent. It's draining. Because I was just working my way out of the no movement at the trade deadline depression, I guess you could say. And, I was moving forward. I'm like, let me get back up for Sixers basketball and just enjoy the time I have left with Joel Embiid, enjoy the greatness Maxi's doing as an all-star starter, enjoy our young rookie, so on and so forth. And, we get this Joel news yesterday, right? There was nothing during the All-Star break,
right?
And
while he was participating in a treatment program for his right knee, he reported the soreness in the shin.
And it's just interesting timing because you have like Drew Hanlon on podcasts right now. He's talking about all this stuff about, Embiid's hunger to get back out on the court and his way working back from injury. You had, the VJ podcast where he, laid out his expectations for the squad with Joel Embiid in mind. And just bang, right before the night before. The night before you return to action, the night after we go live, right? The news is dropped in our head. I texted you immediately, man. But how are you feeling? How are you feeling right now? Joel Embiid, it's just, knock on wood, just shin soreness. Right?
This weekend will ultimately, heading into this weekend, will ultimately decide my faith/confidence level in the rest of the Sixers season. What's there, 28 games left? 27 after tonight's game against Atlanta. Here's why I say that. This is from the Sixers. Kyle Neubeck obviously tweeted out their full report. So he while participating in right knee injury management over the All-Star break, Joel reported the shin soreness, right? Goes down to say he will be out for tomorrow night's game versus Atlanta and reevaluated ahead of the team's back-to-back this weekend. Further updates will be provided later this week. Now, that sounds normal. The problem I'm having internally is that whenever there's a Joel Embiid injury update that is followed by he will be reevaluated and further updates will come, it is never getting settled right then and there. I'm having a very difficult time trusting and thinking that Joel Embiid and that soreness or swelling or whatever's going on is going to dilute by Friday or Saturday, and he's going to be back out on the court.
Yeah.
I have a feeling this is a 2-ish week type of thing, and that obviously doesn't bury their season. It doesn't, it has nothing to do with him not being healthy come, March, April for the playoffs. Yeah. It's just you already had the Paul George suspension.
Yeah.
We had the trade deadline or lack of trade deadline. And now if he's out for, let's just call it 5 to 7 more games. I have no idea. None of us do right now. But let's just say that's the case. You're bordering right now on a playoff team and a play-in team. And I just don't know that you have a couple weeks to stay afloat and stay out of the play-in and stay a top 16. And whenever I read the words, further updates will be provided and he'll be reevaluated. Other players, I don't really worry too much.
Yeah. Joel, other organizations.
Yep.
Yeah. You trust it
the transparency with other organizations, you kind of understand it. I've seen this movie too many times.
I do feel you, man. And there was 2 things I was looking up while you were talking there, because as you were talking, I just started thinking of things like first of all, how does shin soreness connect to a right or a knee injury? It doesn't matter which knee it is or which shin it is. How does shin soreness connect to the knee injury and recovering from it? It's kind of like that, kind of like when you have like a calf strain and then you end up tearing your Achilles, right? Or whatever it is, right? You have a leg injury in one part of your leg and then you end up tearing the other part.
Something,
His lower leg's overcompensating for the knee support, right? The knee recovery, I guess you could say. At least that's what I was looking at. It says there presents like a high risk of, like, whether it's your tibia, like fracturing or whatever it may be, you could tear a muscle, whatever the case may be down there in your shin. So it is, like you said, they're going to have to play it by feel. If it's anything close to like that type of situation, they're just going to have to play it by feel, because God forbid, man, you throw him back out on the court and then all of a sudden his leg just fucking snaps because it has no support, because he's just stressed out from his knee recovery.
285 pounds.
I just feel bad for Embiid, man.
I do. I do. This isn't
when
I say that I've seen this movie too many times and I'm feeling down about it right now.
Yeah.
It's not even a jab at Joel. Like we were talking about this before we went live tonight. There's no question about the dude's want to. I mean, the amount of injuries. Yeah, it's frustrating as a fan to have a guy on the floor, off the floor, on the floor, off the floor, and watch every playoff hope just disappear year after year because this dude can't stay healthy. But at the end of the day, like, I've never questioned his effort to be out there. I've never questioned his want to be out there for this team, for his teammates, for the city. He's played with multiple broken faces. He played with Bell's palsy and a torn meniscus. They shaved a piece of his meniscus down just so he could play in a first round series against the Knicks 2 years ago. There's never been any question of that. So you obviously feel for the dude. And you mentioned the Drew Hanlon interview that he did, and I saw the one clip of it just kind of talking about, everyone kind of getting on Joel. And I think right from the outside looking in, like, what happened at the end of the next series in that season. Then you're watching him play in the Olympics, and now he can't play the full next year. So there's some animosity there from the fan base. Like, what the fuck? Hanlon basically provided the fact that, dude, they didn't even practice. Like, he couldn't practice
Yeah.
They didn't do like him and Drew didn't get together for a workout for almost a year because the dude couldn't practice and then was using NBA games in the beginning of the season to get himself in shape. That's how good he is.
Yeah.
That he can go out there. Like, he wasn't good to start the year. We remember the opening night against Boston. Yeah. He was terrible. But
couldn't keep his balance.
He's so good that he can just use NBA live games as tune-ups. And then within a month and a half, he's dropping 39, 40, averaging 30. That's why it sucks, man, because for the first time, honestly, since before that Knicks series, it felt like this might be the best version of Joel Embiid since we've seen since 2023. And now how long does this kind of play out?
Yeah. And, you know, you mentioned the USA thing, man. We see it right now at the hockey, right? And they're winning goal. It's like, that is, like, as much as we love the Sixers, that is bigger than the NBA, bigger than, like, basketball in a sense. Like, at the end of the day, I don't fault him for that. I feel for him, like you said. And to your point about 2 weeks, like, when, you know, how long can we afford?
That's just me being a pessimist. Like, that could not be the case at all.
Yeah. I'm looking at our schedule, and I would say the cutoff would be like the end of this month. Like, I think we could survive the end of this month, whether that's like winning 3 out of 5 games or something without Embiid and Paul George, right? I think we could do that against the Hawks tonight, the Pelicans, the T-Wolves, Pacers, and Heat the rest of this month. You can win 3 of those games, in my personal opinion. You get to March, you get the Celtics in Boston, you get the Spurs, Jazz, Hawks, Cavs, you get the Pistons mixed in there, Nuggets, Thunder. So March is that month where you're going to be tested. It's your biggest test of the rest of this season, the regular season, that is. And so 2 weeks, I would say, it's like, we gotta just pray, man. You know, we gotta, like, knock on some wood, pray that it's 2 weeks and or less, and he can get back on the court.
And let me clarify this, right? I took it in a negative direction by saying this weekend's going to tell me a lot, because I've seen this movie too many times, and I just have this feeling that, you know, getting the update, it's going to come that he's out for the back-to-back this weekend, like both games, I mean, obviously, and then he's going to, you know, he'll be reevaluated in the middle of next week, and then another report comes out. That's me taking it a negative way. This weekend can also change the direction for me in a positive way. If the report comes out, you know, tomorrow, Saturday, whatever the case may be, that, you know, Joel's just going to miss these next 2 and then he's back, or he plays one of the back. If he's like back and that's then it sings a different tune, right? It's okay. Maybe the injury bug isn't going to nip at him too much this season, and he will be playing in the postseason healthy. And so it can go one of 2 ways. I just unfortunately take it in a negative way, because there's really no evidence of the opposite. There's no evidence we have in the past of him responding well to soreness or swellness or small, like, so.
If they say further testing or, you know, check back or whatever, that means 2 weeks. If they say at that point, or we get to next week and they're saying maybe we'll reevaluate in a week, and then it's probably 3 weeks. Well, like, you know what I mean? You got to take everything the Sixers say with a grain of salt.
When you're dealing with the 7-footer, 280-pounder, now we're talking, even when he does return from that layoff, you're talking ramp up period. You're talking minutes restriction. And now it's April by the time we blink, and it's Paul coming back from the suspension, Joel just starting to get back into game shape again. And wow, can we put all these dominoes in a row correctly now? You know what I mean? So
I will say, man,
they can't afford this to turn into something worse.
Saturday would make 2 weeks on the dot since he last played in the NBA game.
It's a long time.
It's a long time.
And let me ask you this, though, man. But let me ask you this, Scotty.
I'm throwing out hope here.
But let me ask you this about the transparency of the team, and maybe in trying to read between the lines, right? Because from the quote from the team that Neubeck posted, it's that he reported the soreness during a workout during All-Star break.
During All-Star weekend, yeah.
Why do you miss the last 2 games before break?
Right.
All right, he misses the Portland game, the last night of a West Coast trip, whatever. Why do you miss the Knicks game with a day or 2 off in between with the All-Star break coming up? Like that was So there was something going. There was something bothering him.
And you just didn't tell us?
Correct. So now there's the transparency window. There's it didn't happen in a workout. This happened prior to the All-Star break, and how long is it going to take? So that's kind of where my mind goes when it comes to this team, man.
When was the trade deadline?
It's a fantastic question.
I'm wondering. And I only asked that because
pull this up because I'll look at our shows real quick and see when we posted the McCain. Let's see.
I know it was in the last 2 weeks or so.
Yeah, it was 2 weeks. So we did the McCain video. I would love if the Wi-Fi would allow me to see the date of this YouTube video. February 4th is when we made the McCain video.
Yeah, looks like it was on the 5th.
The 3rd, 5th, okay.
Yeah,
right, because we traded him before the deadline. Yeah.
So he did play after the after the deadline.
Yeah.
Because I know there's been rumors about that as well, right? Like, is that why the Sixers sold whatever you want to call what they did at the deadline? Got under the tax, whatever you want to. Yeah, I guess you could plainly call it that. Yeah, I don't know. I think that would make like my life make a little bit more sense. I guess if I wanted things to make sense from the deadline to Embiid being injured, that would like connect the dots. But at the same time, that would probably be worst case scenario at the same time. So I'm just gonna hold out hope that he comes back in the next 2 weeks. I'm gonna hold out hope
man. It's all we can do.
That we get a good report over the weekend. And I do think, to your point, man, I think along with like hoping for positives from Embiid, also hoping for positives from this team, guys like VJ, I want to see him step up early in the second part of his rookie year, going out there, no Paul George, no Embiid. He needs to assert himself. I think it's as plain as day. Quentin Grimes, man. I'm really looking at Quentin Grimes. I know he was dealing with an illness going into the All-Star break. He was in a hell of a slump going into the All-Star break. You trade Jared McCain, fine. If you're planning on bringing Quentin Grimes back this offseason, let's see something from Grimes, man. This is a guy that averaged 20 to 22 points last year during that stretch for the
and even to start this year, man, coming off the bench as a 6th or 7th man, he was averaging 16 to 18 in the first month or two of the season.
Was killing it.
His shooting numbers, especially from deep, would have dropped greatly, and that can happen. But I agree with you. Like again, against the Hawks team tonight, they're 4 games under 500, I believe Atlanta is. They're 10th in the East, so they're technically that final play-in team at the moment. So they're trying. Well, maybe they're trying. I don't know, but I
think so.
What's the name? you have a CJ McCollum over there. You have a Buddy Hield over there. You have a Dyson Daniels. You have some young talent over there, and the Sixers, I believe, are a point or point and a half favorites now with the Joel Embiid injury news. So it's basically a pick 'em at this point at home, which is not a great sign against a 10th seed Hawks team right now. So everyone has to play better. And I'm not saying this because he hasn't played better. The dude, it was an all-star starter. The dude's averaging almost 29 a game still, right? He's still playing out of his mind. But now's where I need that earlier in the season consistency from Tyrese Maxey to really shine. Because there's just been some nights, right? Efficiency from 3, being aggressive from 3. Like Tyrese Maxey can't walk out of this game tonight 2 for 5 from 3.
Agreed. He needs
Tyrese Maxey has to take 8, 9, 10 3-pointers tonight. VJ Edgecombe cannot be 3 for 7 tonight.
Agree.
Has to be aggressive. So everybody has to play better. I do agree. I am looking at a Quentin Grimes specifically, especially if he's coming off the bench, being that scoring punch that they will need moving forward. But the 2 guys now that you have leading the way are your young backcourt. And can they go out there? Can Tyrese Maxey go out there and be the best player on the floor tonight?
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because, I'm looking at the Hawks and you mentioned all the talent that they have or maybe they lack, They do have a Jalen Johnson All-Star this year, first time All-Star, whatever. He puts up numbers. This is a team, if this roster, the way it is without Paul George and Embiid, if they are who I think they are, if Maxey is who I think he is, they should beat this team at home. Fresh out of the All-Star break, well rested. Yeah, I think even without Embiid, you should be able to beat a team like this.
You know why,
it's
bro?
just, is Jalen Johnson going to come out and outperform our best player?
My issue when the Sixers play down to bad teams without Joel, because it's always a reason, it's always an explanation. Like, yeah, you're missing Joel. You're also like, you're missing two of your highest paid guys. The problem I have when they lose teams like the Nets or the Pelicans when Joel's out is those teams never had Joel Embiid.
Right.
Those teams don't have a roster. They don't have a Tyrese Maxey, right? Like, so you're still like,
yeah.
Look, I know how bad. I was about to say something stupid. Are you that bad without Joel Embiid? We saw how bad they were last year, but they sat everybody last year. It wasn't just Joel missing all the time. My question is, just missing Joel Embiid, are you a poverty team? Like with Maxey, with Oubre, with VJ, with Grimes, are you still worse than the Hawks and the Nets at times and the Pelicans? You shouldn't be.
So no, I'm not saying but
right.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying.
That's where the All-Star needs to come out tonight and drop 30.
Yeah. Yeah. And to VJ, VJ, Grimes, whoever you want to appoint it to, even Oubre, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, he's averaging like 20 points per game this year, leading the way for the Hawks as well. Are you going to let him outperform you? Are you going to let Nickeil Alexander-Walker outperform you? And I'm not saying that it can't happen. He averages 20 points per game. Can I see something?
You already know he's hitting like 4 to 6 threes tonight.
I know. And Jalen Johnson, he's going to get a triple-double. Because it's the most annoying shit. He's going to kill us on the boards. He shouldn't, though, right? You would think maybe, are we better rebounding without Embiid? Like, that may be one thing, maybe, that, like, Drummond does better.
About. Yeah. Well, Drummond specifically, but, like, if you drop Bone out there, obviously Bone's athleticism and his shot blocking seems to play a factor most nights. But it's like, I don't want to say undersized. What's Bone? Still 6'10"?
I know what you mean, though. He is kind of undersized, like from a height, length standpoint. Yeah.
So it's like, it's just crazy because I do agree with you. Like, how are you a better team missing the 7-foot Joel Embiid? Like a better rebounding team, excuse me, not better team.
Right.
Speaking of a guy that a team wins with when he plays and a team that loses when he doesn't.
I know where
the Eagles get some positive news today, man. Lane Johnson will be back. Yeah, let's get into a little bit of positivity. Not positivity the way the season ended. Positivity moving forward, right? First couple steps, I guess, complete, right? Sean Mannion, the new OC, Josh Grizzard, the new offensive or the new quality control, whatever the fuck. Josh Grizzard's coming in to be alongside Sean Mannion. But we got change, and that's kind of what 99% of the Eagles fan base was hoping for. Whether you're happy or unhappy with the Mannion hiring, it's change. The next thing that kind of came out was the Jeff Stoutland stepping down, the rumors of Sirianni relieving him of duties in the middle of last year when he took over play calling. And then questions began. Lane Johnson's contemplating retirement. And Landon Dickerson's contemplating retirement. And Dallas Goedert's a free agent again. And A.J. Brown wants out of Philadelphia. And I'm sitting here. Go ahead.
Did you see Cam Jurgens is down in is it one of the South America? Is it Colombia? Is he down in Colombia doing some type of blood transfusion or something? I can't remember exactly what it was.
Man,
he's doing some crazy medical
first
shit.
Of all, somehow a Pro Bowler. But after the year that Cam Jurgens had at center, do whatever it takes. Bro.
Try something.
Whatever the fuck it takes to get back on page. Or maybe he was just hidden in the middle of that offensive line with Becton, who was right. Also, I don't know if you saw this, the Chargers either did release or are planning to release Mekhi Becton. Could you get a reunion? Now there's no Jeff Stoutland anymore, so maybe that throws a wrench in the reunion plan. Maybe the new guys calling the shots in terms of offense don't care to have him back. But Lane coming back is step one, right? Because
yeah.
there's already going to be holes on this team this year, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and you're going to lose your tight end more than likely, right? You couldn't afford to lose the heart and soul. It's not stupid to say, correct?
Right.
Outside of Brandon Graham, the longest tenured Eagle, right? Brandon Graham's probably going to go back in their retirement. So, you could not afford to lose that guy. We know the numbers of just simple win-loss. Do the Eagles win when Lane Johnson plays? Yeah, they win a lot of games when Lane Johnson plays.
Yeah.
Do the Eagles lose when Lane Johnson misses time? They do. They do, and they struggle, and they have to change their game plan, and things, kind of go down a rabbit hole. Getting Lane back is a very positive step one. You texted me when I sent you the tweet, kind of like, give me 2 more years. Like, I'm not ready for that retirement, not just yet. I guess my question is, because there were a lot of rumors circulating after the Stoutland thing specifically of, this team is starting to crumble from within. Right. Mm-hmm. And relationships are being fractured. And was Lane going to come back and put his body through this, this is his first offensive line coach that's not named Jeff Stoutland in the National Football League.
Yeah.
He's saying, yes, he's back.
Yeah.
I don't want to say, does that tell you anything? Like, I'm not trying to get too, what's the secret message here? But it's being such a positive. It has to tell you a little something about the direction maybe that's being discussed behind closed doors, right? You think Lane's just coming back without discussing, maybe the look of the offense, the plan with the new O-line coach, with the new OC. So what does it tell you, if anything?
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. I honestly didn't really think around like that kind of avenue, but it is a great point. Like when you think about his entire career that he's had in Philadelphia so far, for me, man, I didn't believe that he was going to retire in the first place. First of all, like ending his career on that injury, like I just don't see him going out like that. Like he's
gearing up for the postseason game, and then last minute he's out in warm-ups.
Exactly. It just didn't seem right. But from a standpoint of him coming back, and to what you just said, where you could have a bunch of guys bow out from some of the descriptions you just described. They've already seen the peak, right? So Lane Johnson, he could ultimately retire if he's not comfortable with the new coaching staff, right? So I think it does speak to positivity. I think you throw in that report with the report from D Gunn regarding AJ Brown, and we'll get to that shortly, but I think those are signs that you shouldn't believe everything that you hear in the news. I think that's fairly obvious these days, but when it comes to the Eagles, when it comes to the reporting, when it comes from ESPN, take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm going to say. But no, I would like 2 more years, because even if you're bringing in somebody you want to groom to, take Lane's spot, let's give ourselves a fallback here in case he's not ready after year 1, which we know very well can happen. It's going to be hard for somebody to replace Lane in general. And to your point, this is a guy, we were 8-2 with him last year, 3-5 without him. Like, we can talk about other injuries, we can talk about other things that happen, whatever the case may be.
All you need to know about the win-loss record of the Eagles with Lane Johnson playing versus not is to go back to 2023. Now, this is pre-collapse, okay? The undefeated Eagles, I believe they were still undefeated. I could be wrong. Maybe I'm fucking this up and they had 1 loss and this made 2, but I believe the undefeated Eagles went in to the Meadowlands without Lane Johnson and lost to Zach Wilson. Not the Giants. I didn't say the Meadowlands for the Giants.
Right. That one threw me off.
And Zach Wilson in 2023 without Lane Johnson. That's all you need written on the resume. Undefeated, lose to Zach Wilson and the Jets when he misses a game.
Yeah. So, I take it as a positive regardless.
Yeah, right. It's the understatement of the year for me and you to jump on here and be like, man, it's really good that Lane Johnson's coming back this season. Right? We understand that. What I guess I'm hinting at more is I started by bringing up the change with the OC and the Grizzard hiring and all that, because as much as I blame last season on Kevin Patullo and Nick Sirianni, it doesn't matter who was walking through that door. If it was Mike McDaniels, if it was Brian Daboll, if it was anybody else, if it wasn't Nate Scheelhaase from the Rams, if it was anybody but the Eagles lose Dallas Goedert, Lane Johnson, and or Landon Dickerson / AJ Brown, doesn't fucking matter. That's too much to overcome. That's too many gaps, too many holes to fill. You're going to be filling holes on defense as well this coming off season.
Yep.
That's why this is step one. In a very early off season, it's not even March yet. Free agency hasn't begun. Step one, get this out of the way. Okay, future Hall of Famer is back at right tackle.
Yeah.
AJ, let's get to that. AJ Brown, this is just Derek Gunn report. I don't know. Let me ask you this. Is it shocking to you? I guess I shouldn't ask if it's shocking, because anytime, AJ Brown's name is thrown on social media nowadays or brought up on a talk show, it's big news, right? Because it's something drama related, right? It has to do with something that happened this past season. But
it's everyone's favorite trade target.
It's baffling to me that Derek Gunn just reporting that, AJ Brown, the Eagles don't plan on trading it, and AJ Brown's coming back, right? The storm that this kicked up, right? That, oh my God, AJ's coming back to the – I guess, how you said you never thought Lane was retiring? I never once for a fucking second thought Howie Roseman was trading AJ Brown this year. And, dude, it kicked up so much, so many people quote tweeting, just either shocked or so happy because they're like, oh, I wasn't sure – we were going to – I don't know, man. I don't – Patriots fans tweeting again, all these mock picks that they could trade for A.J. Brown.
I'm telling you, it's like that mass psychosis with, social media. It goes around a lot in sports, and I swear that's what it is, man, because – yes, A.J. Brown has had temper tantrums or whatever you want to call these situations, but he has never once demanded out. He's never once thrown Howie under the bus, thrown Nick under the bus. Even Kevin Patullo, he has not thrown under the bus. And so, I never really thought we were going to get rid of him. Like everyone else, I was very pissed after the playoff game where he drops passes, right? And he was in his own head, whatever happened there. But let's look at the numbers here again, right? 4 seasons, 1,000 yards at least in every season. His down year with the Eagles is 1,003 yards in 15 games. His low in touchdowns, 7 touchdowns. That's the basement for A.J. Brown on a season. The max is 14 the year he goes all pro, right? You're just looking at a guy that no team would trade this player unless he demands out. That's what it's always been about.
Unless you have a James Harden situation. Right. Unless you have a James Harden NFL situation, then no, you're not fucking doing it.
Exactly, man. So, yeah, we talked about this last week a little bit, but to be fair, it is good to hear, the confirmation that he doesn't want out, right? Because I want to be excited about our new offensive coordinator. I want to be excited to see this offensive line, to see these wide receivers in this new system, see Saquon, Jalen in this new system. I even saw, and, we can obviously talk about the free agents, different things that are about to happen as well. You mentioned Goddard a couple times. There was a reporter or an analyst, analyze, what I'm talking about, some type of guy that covers NFL for Fox Sports. They put out a dream Eagles off season. And basically, it was, let me pull it up here. It was us bringing back Dallas Goedert, bringing back Reed Blankenship, bringing back Jalen Phillips. We would ultimately have to let Nakobe go. And then ultimately signing Romeo Doubs from free agency as wide receiver 3. Dotson would be gone. We decline that 5th-year option. I don't see him coming back, or just why, you know what I mean? Fred Johnson's another free agent, but that looked like my ideal offseason. I think my interchangeable, I would probably change Reed out for Nakobe if I could. But I understand Reed. I'm not like trying to throw Reed under the bus either.
Right.
He's going to be
kind
more
of
affordable.
I agree. I think player to player, Nakobe Dean is a better linebacker than Reed Blankenship is safety. You have, I guess, the replacements at linebacker next to Zach Bond. If Nakobe Dean was to walk, then you have in-house for Reed Blankenship moving on from safety, right? Because the slot next to Reed Blankenship was already a problem this year. You lose your first safety. Now you're down 2 safeties. Obviously Andrew Makuba got hurt last year. We'll see what their long-term plan is with him. But, that would get me fucking excited, man. You wonder, right? Like, what is the relationship with Mannion and Romeo Doubs? Like, how much could that sway a pending free agent to come to the Eagles right now?
Could you imagine actual wide receiver 3 production? Like, I'm assuming that our new play caller.
And let's get one thing very clear, everybody. Before if you're listening to me right now, and you recall, if you've been listening to me for a while now, and you recall me trashing the correct word, Scotty. If you call me being very critical of the talent the Green Bay Packers have had at the wide receiver and skill position recently, yes. I have poked holes in the receiving core of the Packers. I have said that a group of Jaden Reed and Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs and whoever else doesn't scare me. They don't have a true wide receiver 1, right? That goes out the fucking window if Romeo Doubs is smack dab in the middle of A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith.
With a bunch of wide receiver 3s.
Correct. With a coordinator that actually might game plan to get him some looks, right? Whereas the previous regime, just Quez Watkins doesn't matter. Jahan Dotson doesn't matter. Olamide Zaccheaus doesn't really matter, right? Zach Pascal doesn't matter, right? Like these guys just don't get the football in our previous systems. And, I really don't know how to explain it, man, because we're obviously so fed up in the now and what Patullo did, but like Kellen Moore had Jahan Dotson.
Right.
Shane Steichen had Zach Pascal and Zaccheaus. Or was that Brian Johnson the year we had? I think it was Brian Johnson the one year we had Olamide Zaccheaus.
The Bills game. Yeah, I just remember that Bills game in snow. That was Brian Johnson.
But like we have had different styles of coordinators, some very good, some very bad, and they've all had different skill sets at wide receiver 3, and they just for some reason never get them the ball. You bring a guy like Romeo Doubs in. I mean, at that point, like you bring in Romeo Doubs and keep A.J. Brown. That's the best wide receiver trio in football. No?
I mean, it's definitely up there. I'm trying to think.
Trio. Like I know there's duos, right? You can argue Jamar and T. You can argue Puka and Tay. You can argue a couple things, but like trio.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I don't think you find any better one.
Off the top of my head.
So I agree, and the Goddard thing's big too, man, because
it is.
I don't know, because if you don't bring him back again, not only is that a hole, but like. Now I'm seeing mocks of them using their first-round draft pick on a tight end. And I'm not saying no, right? Yeah. Like it could be fun, but like
are there any, Tyler Warrens in this year's draft?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I'm not going to pretend like I do. We can read up and watch whatever we want, but I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah, dude, like the kid from Oregon, Brock Bowers.
That's the guy right? I think I was seeing. Yeah.
I think it is the kid from Oregon, but like I don't know, even if it's Colston Loveland-esque, right? Even if
they drafted a tight end last year, then sure. Like, and you had that year for Goddard to groom. That's what I want Goddard back for, because I still want to draft a tight end. Maybe not first round, maybe not second round even, but draft a young tight end that it's promising, that's similar to Goddard, that he can kind of groom just like Ertz did for him. And then eventually we are going to have to move on from Goddard, but I think. We saw how important he was, especially in the red zone last year, being that big target. Maybe if they bring in a wide receiver 3 they really like, though, maybe it, target share, running the football. I think that's also where the wide receiver lacks production as well, because you got to get AJ, you got to get Smitty, and then Saquon, and then so on and so forth. Goddard's before wide receiver 3 as well. Jalen's legs are probably before wide receiver.
For sure. I think the way
it's interesting.
Yeah. The way I view our wide receiver 3 situation, because you bring up a fantastic point. It's the same thing like when, big threes or like these star-studded NBA lineups are put together. Yeah. There's one ball to go around. So like you said, right? You're trying to get AJ Brown at least 9 to 10 looks in a game, right? You're trying to get Smitty 7, 8 plus looks in a game, right? Yeah. Goddard, especially in the red zone, is getting looks. Say you're going to run the ball a bunch. So how many pass attempts are you throwing to get the ball? What I look at in our recent history with the wide receiver 3 position is like, man, I watch other football teams with great wide receivers. Like the Bengals. The Bengals have Jamar and T. What's his name? Osivas?
Yeah.
He falls into 3 or 4 catches a game. You're telling me Jahan Dotson couldn't catch 2 passes a game?
Right. I know what you mean. Yeah. I know what you mean.
So, they're not going to be used a lot. They're not going to be featured. But, other wide receivers can fall into being open here, especially when you're, the game plan is to take away those guys.
Yeah.
You would think a talented guy in the middle can catch 2 balls a game. Dude, how many games this past year did Jahan Dotson not even get a fucking target?
Not even a look. And, to your point, I think, Jahan Dotson, looking back on it, I don't know, nothing he does really sticks out, right? Like what does Jahan Dotson do well as a wide receiver? I'm not saying he's a bad player. It's just what can you maximize at wide receiver 3? The burners, deep threat, middle threat, through the middle, physical slot type of receiver. No, not really. I don't know. I think Romeo Doubs in return though has kind of put himself into a role with the Packers. And I think Sean Mannion can bring that over to the Eagles. So I think that's why Romeo Doubs, that sounds really good, right? And probably doesn't end up happening because that's just how life works out sometimes, right? The most popular name doesn't happen.
No,
but something like that. A guy that knows his role, isn't trying to come in and, compete with Smitty and AJ for wide receiver 1 and 2. Nothing like that. Want a guy that comes in, knows his role, knows he's going to catch a few screens in a game or catch a few passes over the middle. Those are going to be his opportunities, and he has to take advantage. And I'm just hoping we can bring somebody just a little.
I agree. Romeo Doubs is probably going to go somewhere and receive mid to high end wide receiver 2 money for a bad team. How much you think the Eagles are willing to pay wide? I mean, probably, dude. I don't. What's the wide receiver market? What's the wide receiver market this offseason? I don't know. I haven't looked at it. I have no idea who's.
I just feel like he should. I guess you can look at his route running on the Eagles, but what are you? You're just going off of his production in Washington because he I don't know. We won a Super Bowl and shit. Just really.
No. I don't remember. Oh no. My bad. If I said Jahan Dotson, I messed up. I said I meant Romeo Doubs.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that. I
think Romeo Doubs is going to go get wide receiver 2 money. The Eagles aren't going to look into paying a wide receiver 3, not buku bucks, but something to get him in the door. They're not going to worry about it from that standpoint. But to wrap it up, man, speaking of you mentioned role, knowing your role, if you're the new wide receiver 3 in this roster, and it's that's the one thing. I know it's a pipe dream to think that AJ is just going to get it now and he's going to stop complaining at times and he's going to stop being a diva at times because it's what the wide receiver position has always been, right? Especially the best wide receivers. If you're coming back because you want to be here, right? And I think that's the vibe some people are getting from that podcast clip and all. I need you to start to get it. Don't get me wrong. It's not as frustrating, obviously, as a fan than it is to be the person who thinks they should be getting the ball and should be helping and everything. But it's frustrating as a fan to know, dude, how the fuck can we not get a top 5 wide receiver in the football in this game, right? Mm-hmm. You weren't getting the ball like you wanted. We were winning football games.
Yeah.
The 3 games that you got the ball, we lost. Then you dropped the ball in the playoffs and gave up on routes throughout the year, gave up on blocks throughout the year. I need you to get it. I need you to tone it down a bit. I need you to, he's a star still, but I need you to be part of the system. So I think that's exactly what he was in 2024. He was part of the system of that winning Super Bowl team. And it's just too much animosity. It's too much drama, too much talk. When you open your mouth complaining because you got the ball 4 times for 36 yards in a 20-point win. But, man, if you score 2 touchdowns and get $140 in a loss, good for you. Let's have a beer. Like, I need that to stop.
Yeah, I think I definitely feel you. I agree. I would like it to stop. I don't know that it will. As far as like, and I mean that lightly. Like, I'm not saying he's going to go out there and get worse or anything like that. I just think he has that personality where, you know, things like that can come out at times. I only know that from experience. I'm the same exact way. I have a badass temper. Like, I stay calm, cool, and collected as much as I can, but when it hits the fan, it hits the fan. So I know all about it, not being able to keep your comments to yourself in a heated moment. Like, I get it. It's just one of those things where if you're gonna act like that, then you better catch the damn football on the other side of it as well. So, like, I do agree. I think tone it down is probably the best way to put it. Like, let's tone it down. Like you said, you don't have to fall into the system from a skill set, but fall into the system from a team standpoint and supporting one another.
Exactly.
Not allowing speculation on your quarterback, allowing speculation on your coach, or whatever the case may be. You can't just throw comments out there and then, you know, not expect the backlash for them, right?
Right.
And that's what I need from AJ, because you go out there, you talk that shit, like you said, he starts getting the ball, we start losing. Not only that, then he goes out and drops 2 passes in the playoff game, and that maybe
because I need to make it abundantly clear, right? And don't get me wrong. I have favored players. I have my favorite players of all Philly sports teams, right? Everybody does. But first and foremost, I am a Philadelphia sports fan. I am an Eagles fan. I'm not just an A.J. Brown fan. I'm not just a Jalen Hurts fan. So this isn't just coming at A.J. Brown. This is if Jalen Hurts was throwing for 340 and they were losing, but he was out there partying afterwards because he had a dope game. But then when he throws for 190, he's got comments to make in a win. I'd be saying the same exact fucking thing about Jalen Hurts.
Yeah.
It would be totally different if the games that he had, that 3-week stretch that he had, if they won those football games. Because then I could sit back and go, see? Like, open your eyes, Kevin. But when you lose those games, fans stop becoming worried about you getting the fucking ball as much, man.
Yeah.
Like, so that's what I mean about being part of the system. He's the star, right? He's one of the 2 or 3 motors that make this offense and this team go. He has to be for them to have success. But it's not just about you, bro.
Yeah. And I think another part of that as well, man, is the idea maybe the Eagles do draft a wide receiver. I'm not saying 1st, 2nd, or 3rd round in this draft. Maybe they do take a young wide receiver in the 4th or 5th round. Let's welcome them in. And I'm not saying AJ hasn't been that, but it's just very standoffish when you're out there.
I agree. I think
media, man.
If they were to go out and draft a depth wide receiver in round 3 or 4 at good value, I don't think you'd have any question. I do think they're not going to do this. I'm not even questioning how he.
I know what you mean.
But like, let's say they did take a 2nd round pick and trade up to go get a talented wide receiver. Then there'd be speculation of why they do
will create pressure,
and then 1,000%, 1,000%. It's the same thing to wrap up the show, man. Like all the drafting a quarterback conversation going on right now. What do you like?
I wanted to ask you a question because as we were talking through things, and this is maybe something for another show, I just want to throw it out there. Where are we at with Jalen Hurts as far as his input into things and expectations this year? Because like part of me does want to say like, well, you're right. Through all the coordinators, we haven't used wide receiver 3. Is that Jalen Hurts? But at the same time, we're bringing in a first-time offensive coordinator.
First-time play caller, yeah.
First time play caller. Excuse
me. Well,
no,
it's first time offensive coordinator, but like, yeah, it's the first time
pass game coordinator,
pass game coordinator, right? Which
Packers.
Is for Packers.
Yeah. So first time play caller, first time offensive coordinator. Yeah. Can we put that type of pressure on Jalen? I'll throw this back to you as well, man. I talked a little bit about it as we ended the season, like all the distractions, different things, advertisements. You got the exciting mics or whatever with Reed and Coop. And I love the pod. I'm just saying we didn't do that before. But you look at Smitty after the season, he hops in like some high fashion shoot or some shit. All right, you got it all out this season. It's time to perform, all of you, Jalen included, motherfucker, doing all them endorsements and shit. I know he's quiet. He keeps to himself, whatever. Like, he stays in the gym.
He's rolling in it, brother. He's rolling in it. Yeah.
But he loves himself. He's a Leo. I know I'm married to one. He loves himself, for sure. So, my eyes are everywhere. I think this is a reset.
I agree. I'll say this. You and I have come on here and had to battle for this dude, even through winning a fucking Super Bowl and Super Bowl MVP. Had to battle for him, outdueling Patrick Mahomes in 2 Super Bowls. It's ridiculous. All the dude has done is win. He shows up in the biggest moments. Everyone's fawning over Sam Darnold's AFC or NFC Championship game against the Rams this year. And then, like, use that somehow in a contradictory statement against what Jalen Hurts has done. Like, the Super Bowl's done. Like, the first Super Bowl, man. Like, bigger than the NFC Championship. What are we talking about,
just
right?
because he doesn't have the story arc? Because he never had the low of the lows? Like,
hasn't he, though? He got benched at Alabama at the middle of the national championship. Came back. Went to Oklahoma.
Yeah, so he does have the story.
Trips behind Wentz. Da-da-da.
It's not that.
I will say, though, to play devil's advocate, even though it's a first-time play caller in Sean Mannion, and there's all these new, it's what, a decade straight plus of different coordinators year after year for the kid.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting here predicting that Sean Mannion is going to be the next guy. I'm not saying he's going to be the next it guy, the next mind, the next mastermind in the National Football League.
Yeah.
We know the tree he comes from.
Yeah.
He's not going to implement that tree in his offense, in his scheme.
He's not going to make life easier.
So if things do look the same and there are similar struggles, let's say Mannion's running a bunch of hitch routes. I'm not trying to go down that road right now. I'm just saying now I'll be in my head. Is that because they have to?
It's an option.
But then it still won't make. But then it's still man in the back.
I'll still go Sirianni first. I will still go to Sirianni first.
I agree with you, but like,
Hurts is an option at that point. To your point, like it sticks in the back of your head.
Even to play I'm going to play devil's advocate to my devil's advocate. Then how did he accomplish the things he did in the Super Bowls?
Yeah.
How does he make the deep ball throws in the Super Bowls? How does he, make all the 4th and 3rd down clutch throws in this first Super Bowl? How does he play the way he did in the NFC Championship? So, like, while I would go, man, are they doing that because of Jalen's limitations? But then I sit back and go, well, what exactly are the limitations if he can do those things on the biggest stages and make those throws on the biggest stage? Like, so that's where I go down this spiral of, now you people are fucking wrong.
Yeah.
I know what he can do. So we'll see. I know this wasn't supposed to be a Jalen Hurts conversation, but
it will be Sirianni before it's Jalen, and that's just like any other organization, quarterback or head coach. But I think that would be the clearinghouse of, okay, now we look directly at Jalen. Like, if it looks the same after Sirianni, that would be the reset. Like, okay, this is a Jalen thing. But like you said, man, you got to give him respect where it's due. I know I have to ask that question to be fair to the rest of the team. I feel in a sense, because a lot of responsibility falls on the shoulders of the quarterback, but at the same time, he's led us to some very special places. So.
Right, and that's where this whole drafting a quarterback thing, because, man, people on the radio in this city that have their agendas and already don't like them.
Where are they saying draft the quarterback? Like,
that's where I'm confused, because, like, is it like drafting Kyle McCord in the 6th or 7th round? Is it like drafting Tanner McKee in the 6th or 7th round? Or are you advocating for what they did to Carson Wentz when Wentz was here and drafted the quarterback in the second round to stir up all this conversation? Because all the dude has done is make the playoffs.
Every single season.
Rookie year. Smitty, rookie year, wide receiver 1. No Saquon Barkley. Bro. No A.J. Brown. No Kellen Moore. Steichen was here, but Steichen wasn't calling the plays for most of that season. Made the playoffs. Year 2, MVP, Super Bowl. Year 3, undefeated, playoffs. Year 4, Super Bowl MVP. Year 5, playoffs. The fuck are you guys complaining so much about, man? Like, shut up.
Did you think, like just from our perspective, like, did you think whenever, we were dealing with the Carson Wentz turmoil, you draft Jalen Hurts in that draft, right? We have all this drama or whatever with Wentz. Did you think there was a Super Bowl coming to this city anytime soon?
Fuck no. Scotty, dude.
You know what I mean?
Scotty, and this is where if you still hate Jalen, this is where I call you delusional, because I was the most anti Jalen Hurts person. I was the
big Wentz guy.
Carson Wentz guy. Dude. Jalen's first year that I just talked about going to the playoffs with Smitty in 2020 or 2021. 2021. I still picked him apart. I was one of the people then that was like, this is the guy. Do you see the arm? Look what Todd Bowles did in the playoffs. Like, haha, like, fuck you. I was quickly disproven the very next year. Yeah. So the fact that 5 years, a half decade after the fact, you people are still out there blows my mind.
Yeah.
So you can take your draft in a quarterback and shove it up your fucking ass, okay?
Agreed.
Because Jalen Hurts didn't have a Carson Wentz 2020 season. They didn't have to fire Nick Sirianni like they fired Doug Peterson that season. They didn't win 4 games like they did that season. They won the division for back-to-back years for the first time in 2 fucking decades. And it's Howie getting ahead of the curve. We've seen him do it with Jalen. Now he's going to do it too. Shut the fuck up. Without due respect. With no due respect. Shut the fuck up.
With what's happening with our offensive line as well, like, just look around the roster as well. You know what I mean? There are clear holes that you can address in the early parts of this draft that do not involve a quarterback, which is just fucking ridiculous, man. We don't have picks to just throw away. Like, we need to use it on pieces that will play around Jalen.
Because there's correct, and not just that. Like you talked about it, man. The odds you're going to lose multiple pieces, just like you lost last year, man. And that was winning a Super Bowl last year when you had Milton Williams plucked, you had Josh Sweat plucked, you had multiple other pieces. We move on from C.J. Gardner-Johnson. You're going to lose a combination of Breed, of N'Kobe, of Jalen Phillips, of another defensive tackle or two. Brandon Graham's going to go back into retirement more likely than not. So there's going to be holes to fill. You don't need to use a pick, to fill a non-existing hole, or like create more holes by moving on from someone that you don't need to move on from. That's like, this has me thinking about, man, maybe next show, as the Phillies start their spring training games, we can talk about the conversation that is surrounding Bryce Harper. I believe it came from a guy at Barstool. I could be wrong if that's not where the conversation started, but there was a viral clip going around of them arguing about about if Bryce Harper, not about last year, just like a guy was basically saying like he might not be a Hall of Famer. Yeah, like he might not be a Hall of Famer. And his World Series numbers in 2022, what did that tell you? They were bad. His playoff numbers last year, they were bad. You know, Bryce Harper, since 2022 in a Phillies uniform in the postseason, it has historically great. And I'm not just talking about the 2022 postseason. I'm talking about in 4 years of playoff runs. Bryce Harper is up there with it's Carlos Beltran and someone else of average OPS and another statistic in Major League history. But he doesn't show up, and then shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up with no due respect with all due respect, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us over on Twitter at DSM_media. I knew you'd like that one. Yeah, subscribe. That's all I got to say, man. You guys just subscribe. We're continuing to grow the channel. We have more and more content that we're plotting behind the scenes, more people getting involved behind the scenes. So we're excited to push that out soon.
Yes,
for myself, for Scotty, for DSM, enjoy the rest of your night and enjoy your weekend.
Yes, sir. Peace, everybody. Go Sixers.